Hello, everyone, and welcome to ITSM Trends. My name is Paul Henry, and I am a solution consultant and engineer at Atlassian. A little bit about my background. I've been in the ITSM space working primarily. I started as a help desk analyst and then worked as a pre-sales engineer for the last 20 years for various ITSM software companies. So I've worked with many customers through the years and are very familiar with analyst reports and trending. So today I wanted to discuss some current trends in the IT service management space. There are many innovations happening in technology, and certainly the COVID pandemic has had an impact on the way we work, and we'll discuss how that's actually influenced some of these trends. And we're going to focus on 4 trends today, and I would definitely like to hear about whether you agree with them or see other trends in your organization that might be different than the ones I'm presenting to you, and feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. So before I discuss the trends, we're going to cover some background and drivers of these trends. What we're seeing in the industry is that companies are being driven to deliver faster in an environment that's always on. If they don't innovate and digitize, they're going to be left behind. So we'll see a lot today in our presentation about digital services and becoming digitized. In addition, they need to deliver flawless service experiences to both their employees and to their customers. And this has to be done without introducing risk to the business. And as we talked about with COVID, the world is rapidly changing. What we're seeing is, customers at different maturity levels, but it's safe to say that most, if not all, have started down some type of digital transformation path. In fact, in a recent snapshot study by Forrester, who's one of the ITSM leading industry analysts, they said that 78% of companies were accelerating their efforts to digitally transform their business. So this requires companies to become more agile, and we'll hear a lot about becoming agile and breaking down silos during this presentation. It also requires companies to innovate to maintain their market positions as well. I often hear that every company is a software company. That's a kind of a buzzword or buzz phrase in the industry today. And I'm old enough to remember that when you had to drive to a store to get your pizza at the restaurant, but now you could track the whole process from an app on your phone, from the time you order it to when the pizza goes in the oven to time that person delivers it on your doorstep. We track everything from your phone. So since we've covered a little bit of background on what's driving these trends, let's start looking at the 4 that are top of mind. And the first trend we're going to cover is bridging the gap between development and operations. And I call that, again, all things digital, or every company is a software company. So the future of IT service management is definitely going to be marked by a shift from what we call a project mindset to a product mindset, and you'll see customers taking on more of a partner role in a digital business. Gartner, another industry analyst, found in this recent report that the maturity level of most organizations is insufficient to support the digital business. And business leaders must keep pace with the latest IT systems, intelligence, processes and platforms, organizational structures. They have to support new ecosystems and provide a compelling experience for their partners and their consumers. And research data confirms that most IT organizations are far behind in supporting the need to shift to the digital business. And many, or if not most, lack the foundation to support anything but the most basic digital business. This report was released by Gartner back in 2019, not too long ago, but in the report, Gartner expected that to continue to be a challenge through next year, through 2023. So to support all things digital, what do companies have to do? They have to adapt and change the way they work. Companies will find a modular, siloed approach no longer works, and they're going to have to adapt to a more agile way of delivering value, right? And a more different way of working. A more team-centric approach is starting to develop. We're starting to see customers move towards that. And more focus will be placed on the customer and delivering value. And this is not just IT, but the whole company is going to have to adapt and break down the silos to support this digital initiatives. And as the rate of change increases, the work to manage these services keeps growing, whether it involves rolling out new technologies or managing existing ones. All this happens while mitigating risks of impacting customers and stakeholders in a negative way. In most organizations, you find change control often involves a heavy process that requires days, not weeks of lead time. For example, the change advisory board or CAB approval process is often complex and time consuming. It slows down the process. And many teams are moving away from these approaches or limiting them to only the riskiest changes. And if you're familiar with the industry standards around ITIL, the newest version of ITIL 4 encourages decentralizing your change authority into the business stakeholder or peer level. So instead of using separate committee to build and change control into your normal workflow, and include the relevant stakeholders in your steering committee or weekly meetings. So what we're finding is that dev, IT, and business must converge. You'll hear the term DevOps, right? Kind of combining the development and operations. DevOps philosophies and practices are gaining and will continue to gain momentum. IT service management will need to connect with teams so workflows seamlessly from concept to design and onto building, launching, operating, and supporting great product experiences and service experiences for your customers and employees. As software is becoming the driver of innovation in many companies, software development needs to be both fast and stable. In a traditional software development model, those who write code are organizationally and functionally typically separated from those who deploy and support that code. When dev and ops teams have different objectives, leadership, and performance measurements, we end up with the mismanaged releases and a lot of unhappy customers. So what we're seeing is as markets become more competitive, speed is the name of the game. The high performers are going to be delivering products and services faster and manage the flow of work and resources more efficiently. While IT teams have traditionally used waterfall model of a fixed sequential phases, many teams are shifting to an agile project management. In fact, according to the Project Management Institute, 71% of organizations report using agile approaches. Instead of a single high-risk release, these teams put value in the center and break work into smaller increments, or what they call iterations. They are open to change and evolving requirements and based upon feedback and then more importantly, testing, right? And companies may not be able to switch entirely agile, but we're finding a hybrid approach to project management is beneficial. In fact, according to PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC, their own internal benchmarks, they found that agile teams experienced 20% improvement in time to market and up to 95% improvement in productivity and up to 29% lower cost and lower defect rates. So certainly those are compelling statistics to give agile a try, even in a modular sense. So for trend 2, as we mentioned in trend number 1, companies will have to adapt and adopt to support their employees and their customers. So as the baby boomers are retiring, and as I mentioned, COVID has left a lot of companies with a work from home policy. People are working in remote environments and not a centralized office often anymore. And automation and artificial intelligence assisted technology is going to become more and more crucial. So that's our second trend. Tier support organizations are going to begin to shift the ability to deliver value to end users much faster. Typically, this is done by investing in knowledge management and automation. Support teams can gain increased agility and responsiveness to end users, and end users gain quicker resolutions, which leads to higher customer satisfaction. The goal is to deliver amazing service, and from the initial request, the ability to provide relevant knowledge articles will help deflect calls, and automation in response to those issues ensures that the right teams are notified and the appropriate categorization and prioritization are given in fulfilling that requirement. In addition, teams are going to be constantly improving and learning while increasing the value that they provide to the end user and the customer. Since teams are remotely connected, companies are going to need to meet them where they work. Regardless of where they are or what tool they're using, customers and employees want to be able to connect via their tool of choice. Whether that is a collaboration tool like Slack or MS Teams, or a virtual agent that can understand the customer's intent and get them to the right solution quicker. We're seeing a unified help strategy is growing and is a key and growing trend in the ITSM space. Often this leads to breaking down silos and multiple websites to a more centralized portal concept where an employee or a customer can go for all their inquiries, their issues, or any questions. The industry is seeing that artificial intelligence and machine learning are major drivers in modern service management. The goal is to improve overall efficiencies while reducing errors and risk. And by using machine learning, companies can start to analyze their data and uncover patterns in that data. And they'll be able to better understand user intent and interact with intelligent automation like chatbots. And in fact, Gartner predicts that some 70% of customer interactions will involve emerging technologies such as machine learning and chatbots. So we're only going to see more and more of this in the future. Our third trend is, I like to refer to this as, it's not just IT service management anymore. Service management, or you might hear something called enterprise service management, is our third trend. Now, enterprise service management opens the opportunity for businesses to have one unifying portal that displays all available services as a catalog. So as an employee, regardless of whether I need to order a new laptop, I need to notify HR about a new hire that's happening, or maybe requesting a statement from the finance team, everything is going to be displayed in one place. Each team supporting it has their own service with workflows behind it to speed up the service delivery. In addition, it's a place where employees go to troubleshoot, submit requests, and view the services that are offered. So compiling frequently asked questions and building a knowledge base is a quick win for many teams. For example, an HR FAQ can be created to address common HR requests, make sure that the tasks like an employee onboarding are completed quickly and efficiently. I often hear customers say that IT is the last to know when an employee is starting, right? So a well-designed knowledge database will enable your customers and employees to self-serve and get answers to the most common issues and questions. And you can use your team's documentation, and the goal here is to deflect some of these oncoming issues. As we discussed previously, business teams have become accustomed to conducting their most critical business operations and communication through apps like Slack and MS Teams. So integrating chat functionality for effective conversational ticketing is going to ensure that an ease of adoption, since teams are working with the apps that they're already using, right? It reduces the need to switch applications or do that swivel chair between applications. This also allows for visibility, since teams can immediately engage with support and see the status of their request or issue. And multi-channel or omni-channel, you'll be hearing that those key drivers in a remote worker world as well, right? So since we're all remote, we're going to be in need those different ways to connect to IT and the business. And driving a lot of this behind the scenes is automation. So automating tasks allows for better enterprise service management, customer or employee experience. Automating tasks can span development and operations. For example, automatically closing the related incident and problem tickets that are related to a software update that's being managed by the dev team. The end user doesn't have to worry about who to contact. They have one issue number and one centralized place to go for all updates and notifications. In addition, you're not limited to a portal, but since all notifications and interactions can be done through a mobile device, you're definitely ensuring that you are meeting your employees and customers where they work. Our last trend is a customer-centric service desk and request management. So what we mean by that is, as the face of IT organization, service desk often serves as an important meeting point between users and the services that the organization is providing. It's where your users seek help and questions are answered and expectations are managed. Yet your frontline support may still be struggling with overloaded queues and delays from tiered support structures. As we mentioned, non-technical teams from HR to legal to facilities are also beginning to adopt service management practices. So starting with the service desk, they're looking for IT solutions to manage high volumes of requests and juggle processes that require speed and accuracy. To better manage the flow of work, applying the concept of a value stream to the service desk to identify and eliminate bottlenecks. You'll find that automation and self-service can deflect requests so support agents can focus on the higher value work. And you'll also hear too conversations around shift left or level zero. Shift left by bringing issues closer, the resolution closer to the customer as possible. A friendly self-service portal, so we discussed, enables customers to ask for help and get answers quickly. That moves towards that level zero support by surfacing knowledge base answers right in the portal to deflect requests before they even hit support's backlog. And for the support staff, they can utilize this too, because easy access to knowledge base shortens the time to fulfillment and improves that customer experience. And as we mentioned in DevOps, the best performing teams find new ways to eliminate repetitive, time-consuming tasks through automation. That allows them to move to more impactful work and more important work to the business and the bottom line. In the same way, automation rules can speed up service by auto-triaging email requests, escalating urgent service levels, and keeping linked issues updated. And automation also supports continual improvement by proactively monitoring requests, and it can highlight common pain points and implement solutions. Sorry, I want to go one more thing before I move forward. Considering alternatives to tier support model 2 is a formal escalation process that passes complex issues from agent to agent, often adds added time and customer frustration. So instead try a collaborative approach such as swarming, so that avoid that multi-tiering, level 1, level 2, level 3. Swarming puts customers in the center and lets the initial agent handle the end-to-end interaction and use virtual chat to consult a group of experts who can help solve the issue. And finally, empower non-IT teams with service management. As more teams adopt service desks for their own needs, IT is in a position to help them be successful. So IT can conduct handoff training sessions or share documentation, even hand out stickers or swag to help promote the new service desks. And most importantly, scaling services is easier with an intuitive service desk that non-technical teams can set up and use. So in conclusion, I wanted to just discuss the 4 trends in the ITSM space. The first we discussed was bridging the gap between development and operations, breaking down those silos and taking a more iterative approach to development, and moving from that waterfall project mindset to a more agile project mindset. In our second trend, we discussed how technology is changing our interaction with customers and employees. And as more of us are working remotely, businesses need to engage their employees and customers differently, meeting them where they work. So enabling interactions with collaboration tools like Slack and MS Teams or a chatbot that understands customer intent, or using automation to reduce repetitive tasks and increase customer satisfaction was our second trend. Our third trend was around enterprise service management, or ESM, or expanding the concept of IT service management to the enterprise. Allowing a single portal for users to get help, request or obtain status for any question they might have, whether it be with IT, HR, facilities, or any other department in the enterprise. And finally, our fourth trend was the idea of a customer-centric service desk and request management. Initiatives such as Shift Left or Level 0 were driving this trend to allow customers to self-help, obtain answers quickly, and use automation in the background to increase customer satisfaction. So thank you for your time today. I really appreciate your attention. And as I mentioned before in my introduction, please let me know what you think and what trends you're seeing, and feel free to reach out to me at LinkedIn. Thank you.